we're here.
All right, we're here.
Let's do it.
Yeah, thank you guys. Seriously.
Dude,
Happy
to be here.
Yeah, seriously. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Water. Good
Getting
water.
wasted on coffee and water.
The same button that
You already fucked up.
You fucked it up. You already fucked it up? It's
Do
okay.
you want a glass?
We're already fucking going.
I don't want it. I'm going to do it out of this.
Good.
You can do whatever you want. You're a grown-up.
You're a grown man at this
I
point.
don't know if I am.
Actually, I've been taking care of you all weekend. I've kind of
I was
felt
going
like
to say, yeah.
it's been crazy. It just happened today. He left his wallet.
Oh, you're the wallet guy.
He left his wallet, and I almost let him leave it, and he noticed it. How close do we have to be? This is fine.
Good, man. Yeah.
Is that good?
Okay, good.
Those mics are.
tested the levels and everything.
Yeah. It's sounding great.
All right.
Yeah.
It's fine. What do you care?
Don't fuck up the shot,
Don't fuck
man.
up the
This is my
shot.
first big thing, you know?
Well, it's
Is
the
it?
last now. You keep talking like that. That's it. This is
Well,
over.
let's talk about that, though, about how you've been, kind of hanging out with this guy and showing him the ropes.
I'm trying. He's great.
Yeah, for sure.
I was paired up with John. We had a similar agent at the time.
Yeah.
And I was paired up with him to feature for me because I never brought anybody because no one ever brought me. I
Yeah.
never got brought on the road, which was odd. And I kind of skipped the step is what we say. Like I went from just being a local comedian in LA and working my way up, and then I never featured for anybody. I started headlining young.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, clubs and these agents were pushing me, and they were like, he can do it, so let him do it.
Yeah.
And I did a run of just small, shitty, random, crazy places. And then when he got paired up with me recently, I liked him a lot, and we got along. And I kind of wanted to just help him out in LA. And so in every chance I get, I try to help him locally. And then if I get a road gig, I'll take him. I'm not going to take anybody else either. That's the other thing. It's
Really?
like
He's the guy?
Well, you don't find a lot of guys that you find funny
Yeah.
and that are reliable and good and not degenerates and or you know what I mean, like
Right,
not
right.
self-indulgent assholes. So I like John, and he's a good dude, and I think he's very talented, and he's going to be very good when it's all said and done. So I was like, what else? I'm not going to take anybody else.
How do you feel about that, man?
That's the nicest. That's the coolest thing ever. It's
Seemed
great
like a
to
great thing.
hear him. I mean, he says it every now and then. I like to hear him repeat it. Now that it's recorded, I can replay it.
Yeah,
listen to it
delete
all the
that.
time.
I actually want that gone. Now that that's there, I want it gone. Take it down.
Listen, every night before I go to bed. Yeah. My mom will love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel the same way about headliners. When I go out with, I get sent out to open for guys sporadically by my agent, and very rarely do you get somebody who, and not only who you admire so much, whose work you admire so much, but somebody who takes you under their wing like that. They don't do that. They don't tend to,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told him that when my generation of, and it's different everywhere, but like in the LA generation of the guys that I came up with, and I'm by no means I'm not saying I'm done, but I'm just saying like my level of guys, the guys above us were like really adverse to like taking us under the wing. It was a tougher scene, I feel like, in the sense of it was the Comedy Store then. That's how I started in LA.
Yeah.
And
You started out at
yeah,
some?
yeah.
Oh, shit.
And it was kind of like it's a dog eat dog world anyway.
That's
But the
rough
Comedy Store
room.
was at least then was tough because the older guys didn't really show a lot of love to the younger guys unless you were fucking lights out good.
Right.
And they just kind of like that process of like giving, like making you find it on your own, which is great. But
It's a fraternity.
it is a fraternity. It's exactly a fraternity. But now I think it's changed. A lot of my generation of guys have a lot of weight now at those clubs. And I think we all do our best to help the guys
younger
below us.
guys,
I just
yeah.
feel like it's just times have changed.
Right.
Because
Do you
when I
feel
first
there's
showed up,
some necessity in that, though, like to let a guy kind of figure his own way out before you start to help?
yes, I think it's good to, you do have to like fall to know what it's like. But I think I got no tips. Do you know what I mean? There was no help.
Fuck him, he's on his own.
Yeah, and so I'd rather have someone have a little bit of help. And I feel like I don't do a lot for him, but I do enough that he already knows how to do on his
He
own.
still lets me learn.
Yeah, I let him
like
learn.
that.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it for me.
Well, I mean,
No,
do you
that's
go
true.
as in depth as analyzing some of his jokes as well, and like
No.
critiquing any of that?
No, because I don't like when people talk to me about
About
my
your
jokes.
stuff?
And
I'll
I don't-
ask him about
Yeah,
it.
he asks me. If he asks me, I'll
You'll give him
help.
advice.
We
Yeah.
did that this weekend. He helped me with a bit. and
Yeah,
then
I helped him
went
write a
on
bit this
stage.
weekend. Yeah, that's true.
And
That's
it's been
doing
going-
really well.
and it's been going really
I know.
well.
I should take it.
Well, that's so great that
I can't even feel that good about it. It's really more his than it is mine now.
You could come in, you could talk about the bits because you spend 4 days together or
Yeah.
something. Then you could talk about them, and then you could work them out in almost in real time.
Yeah.
You come in, bam, you work it out, you go back home, talk about it. That seems great.
It is. You know what? And I'm a weirdo, but I never liked people noting my jokes. I never liked. I just figure. I'm gonna figure it out on my own, and I'd rather it just be my way. And I will go through the process of whittling it down and narrowing it out to being funny or not, and then I'll decide.
Yeah.
I
You just
trust.
know.
I trust other comedians' point of views, and I respect other people's opinions, but I also don't give a shit. I also let me. It's for me anyway.
Right.
Why would I want to get noted to death by someone? Even if someone's like, oh, what if it's someone you really respect? It's like, yeah, but even still, I respect them because they did their art.
Right.
And I want to be respected for mine,
For
even
your
if it's
thing.
not the perfectly sculpted thing for everybody in the world.
Right.
I think that's what, I do with him, is let him
Make
do his
it
stuff
done.
and then try to help a little stuff if he's like, does this not... Yeah, because you had said the word bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there was orangutan titties, which you changed.
And I said, you can't say orangutan titties.
It sounded racist.
It just sounds racist. It
What do you
sounds...
mean for
does.
it, though?
I don't know why it sounds... When you're calling a woman an orangutan
Then I
titty
went from-
woman,
then-
it sounds racist. It sounds like...
Then I said a fupa. Or you said a fupa.
I said fupa. I said fupa.
And I said it doubles as a
A fanny pack. And I said, that's so much funnier. And it was the crowd loved it. It
They
was
did
way
love it.
funnier.
Yeah.
When you said, she had saddlebags and a fupa that doubled as a fanny pack.
It's
with,
it's so much fun to
with
say.
baby hands smoking outside of a Walmart. It was way funnier. It was just, it was funnier than saying
Saying orangutan titties.
titties. It was like
It's
orangutan.
way better.
It is.
I
So
agree.
that kind of stuff we do.
That's awesome,
He helps
though,
me.
man.
Yeah.
He
You're
helps
able
me
to
a
do
lot.
that.
But otherwise, he doesn't need any help, man. He's going to be, he'll be great, which is fun to see.
When you talk about your bits like that, you know in your head it's going to be great. You're just confident with it. You don't really you just know going out there that.
I know a lot of the things that
It's for you.
Yeah, it's for me.
And whereas when I get so frozen up doing new material because I'm so concerned with it landing and people liking it, I got to get over that.
You just gotta know that if you like it. Like I do this joke that I just literally started doing here.
Yeah.
Was I talk about heaven and hell and what the difference is and how to get there, and it's this gross joke. It's disgusting. It's the filthiest,
great, though.
nasty, gross joke.
It's my fave.
And it's the aristocrats is all it is. It's like a filthy joke to get to, like a small, tiny punchline. But I don't care if not everyone loves it because I think it's so funny to talk about. I just really like it.
Yeah.
So I knew it was going to be funny. People did like it when I said it. I knew it was going to be funny because I thought it was so funny. It was like there was no way. The only time new material is not going to go over well is if you don't think it's that funny. If you're
For
like,
sure,
it's kind of
yes.
funny,
Right.
then they're not going to like it.
Yeah.
You have to be like, oh my God, this is funny. Like I saw Louis do that joke for the first time, I think, when I was in New York about wiping the poop out of his daughter's vagina.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was
Heard that,
brand
yeah.
new. But I knew he had laughed at it that day or whatever day.
Yeah.
And was like, oh my God, that's so funny. I have to say that.
Yeah.
And a younger comic or a more pensive comic would probably be like, can I say that about my daughter's poop vagina?
Yeah.
And
Do you think
He
there
did.
has to be some
Yeah.
type of like establishment though, like with his
kind of. I mean, that's a
some
give and a
things,
take. I think like.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. When you're famous, you're getting laughs out the
Either
gate,
way.
no matter what,
Right,
because they
exactly.
want to see you. They're
They're
happy
there
to be
for you.
there. Yeah. But yeah, I think any comic can do pretty much anything as long as they believe in it and they buy in it, because I have a lot of stuff that I believe in that I get really great laughs out of, and I'm at the level where I still am working for the crowd. In terms, you know what I mean? In
Right,
terms of
right.
guys that just show up and everyone's already like, we're already in love. Anything he says, we're in love.
fucking amazing. Yeah.
And I'm still working, which is great. And not to say there's less merit in being up there. It's just I think it's actually more challenging.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It seems more
To be-
challenging.
yeah.
I heard,
I would say it's more challenging for them because they're all there to see you and they already love you, and it's acquiring the balance from what I see of guys that I know of. Do they really like it, or are they just laughing at it? And I see guys that I know like that. Like, do they like that?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I like that. They
Like
laughed,
yeah.
and I hate that. You know,
That's weird.
because you don't
That's
get
so weird.
you don't get as honest of a gauge sometimes
Right.
when it's just they're like, they go nuts for certain people, you know, and they just want to, these girls are just screaming and yelling because they want to see the guy that they've, you know, that they paid to go see.
Right.
That's
Let me ask you this question, man. With him saying everything's so great, you know, like, or you're going to be great, does that put that pressure on you a little bit more? You feel it?
No, it's not a pressure. It's a nice thing of encouragement.
Yeah.
In comedy.
You need a little bit of encouragement.
You're rejected all the time.
Right, so
99% of the time, people are saying no to
guy.
you. So, it's nice to have somebody besides my mother telling me how
You're
great
going to
I
be
am.
all right. You're gonna be
Yeah,
good.
I
Because there's no
I like
support.
validation. that's why I do comedy.
There's no support at his level. It's like most guys that are at Jon's level of comedy, that are like his peers, like they're all scrounging to get stage time and fighting, and
Yeah, I
it's
see that for
judgy, and it's how the fuck did that guy get that show? Why did they get that thing? You say that. I know you do sometimes. And I tell you,
It's awful.
it's
It's
awful.
bad.
It's he does.
bad.
It's Facebook. It's Twitter. It's Instagram. He's on a show. How did they get a show? They're on this. That's the level he's at right now that he will definitely surpass. But that level of comedy, I remember, it's tough. It sucks. Because you're like, why didn't I get done on that show? How does that guy get so many shows? I'm funnier than that guy.
All your energy gets wasted on that. And
It's awful, man. It's such a waste
Well,
of
what'd
time.
you do to overcome that? Like you?
I think it's age and time. I
Yeah.
think as you grow in comedy and you get older, not in your literal age on this earth, it's the age in comedy. You just get older in comedy and you start to realize, like, oh, dude, I don't give a shit
Fuck
if
it.
these other guys, why could I care? You're going to spend so much time caring. You're spending so little time focusing on how good you are. That's the only thing that matters. Like when I started, I went from the alt rooms is now what everyone wants to call them or whatever. They were just not the clubs. And I would bounce back and forth. And I slowly like transitioned into like I'm a club guy in LA. I play the Store and the Factory every night of the week. And I also do the other rooms. But I think it's only because I got respect early on from those guys that I get to do those other rooms, which I'm very lucky to do.
Right.
But before then, you were fist fighting for spots in this level, and it sucks. And it sucks because you it's this unfair process, and no one is rooting for each other, except for your closest friends in comedy. You're championing each other,
Right,
and everybody
which is
else,
nice.
everybody else is it's battleground.
Right.
They don't all hate each other, but they're all fighting for the same thing.
Right,
So
you
it's this
kinda-
weird, non-supportive community. It's
Do you think
kind
it's
of
worse now because of social media? I mean, you didn't have to
absolutely.
deal with that.
I absolutely think it's way worse now. I think social media has just intensified how shitty people can be to each other about other people's successes. Sucks.
People post about their auditions. That pisses me off. I hate that.
See? Then that should never happen.
Don't post about your auditions.
Yeah, that's awful.
Post it when you get it.
Yeah, I got it. No, but even then, I just think, like, do it humbly if you can. I don't know. It's weird. No, I think social media has really done a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's done a bad thing. It's a good thing.
For comedy or just in general?
Well,
Like,
in general, but I'm
yeah.
just in this world of comedy. I think it's a good thing to get fans more aware of your material
Right.
and your content and your availability. But like, it also just spawns this weird world of bragging, self-indulgent. Look at me.
Well, and also that, and everything's disposable now, though,
Yeah.
too, right? The joke almost becomes disposable
It
after
is.
it's out. Once it's out, some asshole has it on their phone,
And it's
just
his.
like- and it's
Then it's his joke. That's the
Right.
weirdest
Well,
thing.
yeah,
Someone
well,
else is
probably-
telling your jokes from Twitter or
Exactly.
Instagram or whatever it is, and yeah, I think it's just it's why people now say I could do that.
Right.
I
Just
think
like the guy the other night.
I think the asshole in the crowd that goes, I could do stand-up, is because of social media.
He
Because
could do-
everyone
yeah.
thinks they're funny. Everyone thinks they're creative. Everyone thinks, like,
They got the story.
I have a blog. I can do blogs. Like, it's just there's a weird disrespect for our business. When I say I'm a stand-up comedian, yeah, I mean,
You don't say it, though.
sometimes people, yeah, I don't say it. I actually don't. But, like, if I do say it, sometimes
Yeah.
people... like some people are nice and say, oh, that's awesome. And then other people are like, oh, that's cool. That's like a cool, I guess that's
It's a
cool. But they don't.
disrespect.
But yeah, they don't care. They're like, oh, really? You think that's a job? And you're like, yeah, it's a great job.
Yeah.
It's how we make a great living.
Right.
But they kind of take the piss out of it. You're right, though. John's right. I lie. Most of the time, when people meet me in public, if it's just like on an airplane or something, and they say, what do you do? I say the same thing. I always say writer. Because no one gives a shit about a writer. It's great. They just stop talking to you. And you're like, oh, I'm a writer. Yeah, and they go, oh, cool. What do you write for? Just some digital stuff. And then it's done.
done.
You don't even
You
have
don't
to
have
talk
to-
to them again about it. It's
It's
great.
over.
Yeah, because if you do stand-up comic, they want to, you get the real typical Hey, well, tell me some jokes. What's going on? I don't know. You know, it's
Well,
so
I
worse.
think it is because I think it's just my opinion. What do I know? But I think a lot of people could do it. It's just they don't have the fortitude to put the time in and stand up in front of people and take the beatings again and again and again. And I think there's a general disrespect for a lot of things in life that are hard that good people make look easy.
Yeah.
And so I think that's true maybe here. This is, again, just my opinion. But
True.
when people approach you, I could do that. Because you make it look easy, you stand up there. But people have a real fear of standing in front of people.
No, you're right.
It's really hard.
You're right. I don't think at the beginning of what you said, I don't think most people could do it. I think people have the ability to be storytellers, and a lot of people can get up and do public speaking and make a few cracks and be funny at their friend's wedding. But to continually write new material and to be funny and true and continually changing, that is a special breed of person. And it's like I'm, kissing comics. It sounds so cheap, but like it's true. I mean, I think what we do is extremely difficult. I think it's insane. It's to do it a few times for a guy that just wants to do it for fun. Sure, I guess you can try a few times, but to do it for a living and to make your life it, I think there's a very small number of people that can actually do that.
If you can make your friends laugh, that's one thing, but to be able to make
people
a
that don't
room
know
full
you.
of people laugh in Phoenix versus making a room full of people laugh at a casino in Minnesota,
Right.
which we did.
Yeah.
I didn't make any of those people laugh.
None of them laughed at you.
75 plus.
Yeah.
Was the age group.
There was about 2 or 3 people in there that laughed.
I think my mom was there, and then
Your mom laughed. I laughed.
yeah, you laughed. So those were the two.
It was us.
It was just those two.
But
Yeah.
it's
But that's a skill, right? To be able to make that, to make everybody laugh as opposed to just
people that
The
you
people
know.
that you already know. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I guess that is the benefit of being famous because people feel like they know you at that point, so that's why they kind of laugh
Right.
at things that aren't necessarily that funny.
Right. So where does the honesty come in? With when you're that big, I always wonder that. So when I see guys that are that big, I'm like, I wonder how much people like the stuff.
Right.
Versus are they
Right.
caught up in the allure of like watching the person that they like?
It's got to be harder to write material when you have everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
it's-
guys mentioned that earlier, and I think, but you also mentioned that when you've been in the game a long time, you've honed that skill. You're a sharper blade. So do you think that's true? With like you mentioned how hard it must be for someone that's been in for a while to be genuine, to be accepted, to wonder whether or not the crowd accepts them for their new material versus who they were, or just their name. So what do you think about that then? That the skill comes along, and so they're assured of themselves in that sense.
I think it's different for every circumstance. Like every guy that I've seen that's been around for a long time, you see the way they approach it, and they're all different. I don't think anybody does it the same when they've been in for a long time, because they know their rhythm or they know their science to how they get stuff done, and how they interject new material and how they balance it. I think that's a whole new job when you're big. It's a whole new gig, because there's nothing that pains me more than when I hear someone go, "Oh yeah, you know who we went to go see?" And then they tell me someone's name that a comic that I obviously know, and I say, yeah, and I didn't like his stuff. He did some new stuff. He didn't do any of the stuff. The jokes that I'd heard before, he didn't do those,
Right.
and I didn't like his new stuff. I didn't like it, and that pressure is crazy. Like they don't understand. Like you're asking a band to make 1 million hit records
Right, exactly.
all the time.
Exactly.
That's insane. I don't get it. And I'm not saying we're alike, because that comparison's thrown around that musicians and comedians have this thing that we do for some reason have this shared thing. Like every musician wants to be a comedian and vice versa. But I think it's just weird that they expect you to have everything funny all the time, and that's weird. That's a weird expectation.
Yeah.
I want to be very funny. I want to be as funny as I can to you.
Right.
But I also want you to like be in it with me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just want to be like a machine. You can get a thing up there that makes you laugh,
Right.
and put on a movie or something.
It's funny you mention that, because I
Yeah.
was doing comedy for a while though. Music's my thing though, but
Yeah.
there is a parallel there.
Of course.
It's. I think we're just narcissistic assholes.
Yeah, we're full of ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
We want other
Like,
people to see the thing that we're doing.
This is the thing we do. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I put so much fucking time into it. Check it out.
But that's good. There's someone has to be those people that do that. I think that's like, it's like asking someone like, oh God, I would never be a garbage man. Someone, you know what I mean? There's people that be like, oh, I would never do that.
Right.
And there's a guy that's garbage man that's like I love this shit.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I enjoy doing.
Exactly.
I want to do it. There's got to be someone that does everything. So like, there's got to be a dumb idiot who's full of themselves, a comedian and a musician that cares enough about whatever they're doing to be like, I have to show this to people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's got to be like there has to be. It's really crazy, but it's a good thing that there's people out there that are like, you got to see this. I want you to see this thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, sorry.
I was going to say, that's the competitive drive, though. That's why we have an
Yeah.
iPhone 6. That's why we have,
Yeah.
like, you have to balance the narcissism with competition, with skill, with everything. There has to be some sort of balance there. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the ability to make this podcast.
Yeah. No, yeah, you gotta have the push for it. It's true. In the competitive nature of everything, even though I really only care about me and what I'm doing in comedy, you know, it's funny, I still will sometimes, you know, be like, oh, what's that like? Like he went out with another comedian, and not that I care, of course, I want him to go out with 1 million people, get all the work he can, but I think it's funny because I was like, who do you like better?
Hey, John.
Yeah.
You know,
Who treats you a little bit better?
but I don't care. But
You
a
wanna
part of
know.
me inside is like,
yeah,
Does
a little curious.
who do you like better?
Yeah.
For some reason, you just want to know.
Yeah, of course.
I don't care at
He
the end of the
doesn't
day.
spoon like you.
He doesn't spoon like me. I know he doesn't.
I fit in your nook just right.
You do. You're my little nook boy. I don't think he probably is not as good of a kisser as I am.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. It's
No,
on the
no,
record
no.
now.
Is he more handsome now?
Because his
Probably
facial
is
hair
more
tickles.
handsome, but I don't care about that. It's not about looks. It's about skill.
That's
Let's
right.
go.
It's about who can kiss and cuddle the
You
best.
can tell he's experienced. He knows what he's doing.
I hook up with all my features.
That's what he's known for.
Yeah, that's my thing. That's how I continue to get work. I usually hook up with the features and the club owners.
That's why I was so excited when you agreed to take me with you.
Yeah, I know. Trust
I knew
me.
that about you.
And we got another weekend coming up in San Diego, so that'll be a
There you
fun.
go.
That'll be great.
We'll be doing the same
There
stuff.
you
Oh yeah,
Tijuana.
on the beach. Instead
No,
of
we
the
like to
desert.
make love on the beach when we're there.
We do.
It's so fun.
It
It's so
is.
nice and free.
Yeah, it's just to be out there. The sand can be a little irritating.
It is.
Yeah.
But well, that's that's only because you're on the bottom. That's why. I don't really get any of the sand in me.
That's true. That's true.
That's usually what happens.
I can't wait to be a headliner, so that I
no,
don't have to deal with the
you know
sand.
what? I think you'll still be a bottom even in your headline.
Even at that
Because I'll
point.
still be bottoming.
You'll still be bottoming,
Probably.
and your feature will be topping.
That's all. That's good.
It's okay.
Hey,
Let's,
take what you can get.
let's get into your past a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
Let's get it-
Chicago, right?
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Born and
where-
raised in Chicago.
and
Enough of the future. Let's
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
dive back into the belly of the beast.
Yeah,
Enjoy
Chicago, and
Then-
then Arizona State. I went to school out here, and then afterwards I moved to LA right after I graduated on the 4th of July. I
Where
packed
did you
up a U-Haul.
officially start comedy? Was it Chicago?
No, in LA.
Oh, was
I
it?
started in
Oh,
LA.
so it-
Yeah, I mean I did stuff while I was out here. When I was in school, I was doing stuff out here.
At
I did
ASU?
little baby shows at ASU and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a few open mics. Back then, the Tempe Improv was the only thing
Right.
that was around,
Yeah.
and there was no chance you could get into there. I mean, it was like national headliners, and then the other days of the week it was dark.
Really?
Maybe they had an open mic once in a while.
Mm.
It was like once every other week or something, but it was just there was no way. I mean, there was no way there wasn't a local comedy scene that I knew of at the time. I mean, there might have been a small one, but
Right.
I did a few small things here and there, and that was really it. And then when I got to LA, it was like full speed ahead. I moved to Long Beach, and then because I knew a guy that let me stay on his couch, and I drove up every day. Went to the Comedy Store, and then jumped around, and then finally got to move up to LA.
So what was it that kind of put things into motion for you with comedy?
Man, I guess I was working a day job when I was out there for a little while, and then the first thing I got was hosting this web show for MSN. I did it for 2 years, and it helped me get enough money to quit working, and it was also coincidentally at the same time I was starting to get a little bit more recognition locally. I mean, I just started getting better spots, and people were knowing of me a little bit, and then I started going on these little small shitty comedy runs, like a bar tour.
Right.
There's this thing called the Tribble Run that people know about. That's famous in LA and the southwest of the United States. This guy Dave Tribble has a bunch of these shows in Montana, in Utah, in Nevada. There's just random places, and you just go run around to casinos and do little baby tours. And that's kind of how I started on my own, was doing that. by myself. I didn't go with anybody. I went with like one other comedian at the same level, and we would like co-headline sometimes. But yeah, I would just drive by myself, which is how pathetic. Wow. It was so sad. It was awful, man. It was awful. I was in my shitty car driving by myself, and it's a lot of you time. But I think that helped me build a lot. And then nights at the store always help you build. And the Improv at the time was like the first club that like officially passed me in LA. The guy that was the manager there.
Which, the Bria? Or?
No, the Hollywood Improv.
Oh, okay.
That was my first club that, gave me the green light, that I started to become a quote-unquote regular at.
Okay.
And it was kind of a big deal then. I feel like it was a thing to get into the Improv. And I was so excited about it. And I got the email on my birthday that I was a regular, which was so cool. It was like, here's your first paid spot. It was awesome. And, and after I started to continue in that route of everything, I started to do TV a little bit. I wrote for a few different shows, a pilot for Comedy Central that never went, and then a few other random shows, and then I did Punk'd for MTV. They brought it back for like a season, and that was like my first jump into TV stuff, I guess. And then after that, everything that started the ball. I would say the Punk thing started the ball rolling. After that, I did an episode of The Office and Arrested Development and a bunch of different TV spots, and then it kind of just continued from there. But I would say Punk'd was the thing that like gave me the jump.
Yeah. Put the things into motion.
Yeah.
So it seems like TV's become more of.
Yeah, the forefront.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, that's how it's how you can make a living and stay in LA.
Right.
If you don't care for that, which a lot of comedians don't, they can go live on the road, make great money.
Right.
But I wanted to stay in LA and work, and I really do have a passion for acting. I really do like it. So.
Is that something you're focusing on now?
Yeah, big time.
Are you taking classes and stuff?
No, I'm not. But I'm in a really great situation. I did a sitcom last year that lasted a season and got canceled after the season. They didn't pick it back up, and then I'm on track to do another one this year, hopefully. I have a deal with a network that I'm trying to work out that I can do a show for them. Mm-hmm. So it's a great circumstance. It's fun, and I just did another show. For Yahoo, they're doing an original TV show that comes out at the end of this month.
Yahoo, really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is great.
It's huge,
so many
man.
New avenues for guys.
Yeah,
like
it's like we were saying this today. Like the web used to be the dirty word. It was like, ooh, web, but like web is so much more powerful than TV now. Yeah. It's the eyes alone. Yeah. Like the names they got. I mean, it's on the show. It's me, Malin Ackerman, who's a big film actress, Tom Arnold, who's big. And then we got real NBA players to come and be on, and Rick Fox and John Sally. And Baron Davis is the star of our show. It's like real athletes and really good named actors and a real budget. It's Netflix now has taught everyone that dude, this TV, who cares? Yeah. We have the same money.
Right.
The web has so much money. Like you think about a company like Yahoo, they have tons of too much money. Of course they should make their own TV shows. Right. So sooner or later these shows will be one and the same. Mm-hmm. People won't go, oh, it's not a network show. What is it? It's on a web thing. It's not. It's like no. It's
changing.
It's the same thing, if not more popular. And
sometimes it seems like you can just ask for the money sometimes, right? Like Kickstarter, things like that. Yeah. If you want to go that route, but it seems like that's open also.
Yeah,
that's a weird new
people making their own stuff. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, you can. I think it's opened the doors for a lot of stuff, and hopefully this will be the the thing that gets the current moving on a lot of places doing that. I know Amazon's doing original content.
Yeah.
You have Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, Yahoo's doing it. Someone just told me there's one more big web corporation that's doing it too. I mean, it should go that way. Mm-hmm. It should go that way. It's giving more opportunities for people, besides the network TV standard route of doing things. Right. And I do those. I'm going to hopefully do another one. Like, I'm okay with that. But
you like just having the option.
I just like to do. I want to try everything. Why wouldn't you?
Right,
Why would you be the guy that's like, I'll only do one? It's like, well, try it. I mean, if I hated it and it didn't work, that's fine. You learn your lesson, you move on. But oh yeah, man, it is for sure the future. You're gonna turn on your TV, and it's not gonna be like NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, It will just be a panel of what thing do you want to watch?
What do you want? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe there will ever be live broadcasted television. There won't be scheduled television ever again. I think we'll reach a point and they'll go, why would we do that?
Yeah.
Why have slots? Just have times it comes out.
Yeah.
When does it release? A day. You get the day that it comes out, and then after that you can watch it as many times as you want forever and ever and ever. That, to me, is the format that should exist. It's what most people do. I hear so many people like, I don't have cable. I just have
I've
Apple
talked
TV.
about that a few times. I haven't had cable for it's like 8 years.
Yeah, so many people don't anymore. And for the
waste,
youth generation, it's even more prevalent. Like, I hear kids that are, like, young in college, none of them have cable. The only reason you would is for them to watch sports, and they could go to a sports bar. But at home, they're like, oh, I just have Netflix, or I have Apple TV, or whatever. So I think that's the definite future of where it's going.
What about you, John? Are you looking into any acting?
Yeah, I'd like to be acting. I mean,
At
I
some
don't
point?
have. I mean, I'm just auditioning. I haven't been doing
Testing
it
the
nearly
waters.
as long as this guy. So, a lot of, at least in my point, acting in LA is kind of waiting. Literally, it's mostly what you do as your job, and you're also waiting for a call,
Right.
and then you usually don't get the job, and that's basically what acting is.
You
LA for-
usually don't get the job.
Yeah, I usually.
Other
don't.
people get the
Acting is
job.
waiting
on the
Somebody
job.
gets the job.
Somebody
Just
gets it,
not
but
you.
that person always gets the job.
You make a reference to somebody?
Yeah, Zac
Say his
Efron.
name.
I'm looking at you.
You're looking at you, Zach.
Zach.
You
Come
jerk. You're
say it to
taking
my
all John's
fucking
work.
face.
Yeah, Zach was supposed to be here this weekend, apparently.
I was gonna open for him.
Zach was gonna-
I was gonna. You were gonna middle. I was gonna open for Zach.
But I think that's what's great about stand-up, though, is because I'm able to do it every night.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I have control over it. And a lot of acting it's kind of up to everybody else.
Yeah.
Are you from LA? What's your
I'm
story?
from Jersey.
Jersey?
Yeah, and then went to USC, and so just stayed in LA,
Yeah.
and also started doing comedy more consistently out there in LA. I mean, I would do open mics in New York City growing up. My mom would drive me in, listen to me talk about my dick, and then drive me home.
Nice.
So what are you thinking about all the new avenues then available?
For
'Cause
you.
you're
I think it's great, and it's bad. You know, I think it allows for more opportunities.
Right.
I mean, even the reason I have an agent that was ultimately able to match me up with him is because I had a series of YouTube videos that did well. But I think it's also kind of made everybody think they're a comedian in some ways, and anybody who can do a 6-second clip is now a celebrity in some way. So there's kind of that fight. But I think ultimately it's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's worked out in your favor.
It worked
so
out in
far.
my favor, so-
So far, at least, yeah.
Yeah. Even though Zac
if it
Efron's
wasn't-
taking all my work.
Yeah. If it wasn't that, it would have been something else. But that's the kind of thing. I talked to someone about that. Like, YouTube it's making a lot of untalented people famous,
Yeah.
but it also is probably
Vine.
making a few talented people famous.
Right.
So I find that
Right.
you have to have the balance.
Yeah,
It's with all that. It's like when people say they hate the Kardashians. It's like, oh, I hate how they're so famous. I don't hate them at all because they're just filling a gap. If it's not them, it's
gonna be
something
some
else.
other-
Yeah,
yeah.
what are you talking
Duck
about?
Dynasty.
That has to exist.
Yeah.
To think that that's not going to exist, you think everything is going to be pristine and all the TV is going to be what you like, and I can't believe that show's on the air, but someone watches it. It's okay that it's not you.
It gives us something to talk about.
That's all it is. It's just
Hey,
like
I
more.
got 5 new minutes on The Bachelor.
Yeah, exactly. See, it's fodder. It's usable things that have to exist.
Yeah.
When people are like, "Oh, I hate that," you know what shows I hate? You know, when I hear people say
What shows I hate, I love
people
that.
say it. People, you know what I hate? I hate that Big Bang Theory. Or you hear people say that kind of stuff all the time. It's like, yeah, but you don't have to. They don't give a shit that you don't like it.
Right.
You know You know what they care about? The 7 million people that do love it,
yeah.
and then they get paid from it, and they enjoy their work. Like, I think it's weird to hate on that kind of stuff. So, YouTube is good and bad. I think it's done really good stuff, but it's also perpetuated the notion that anybody can do what we do, and anybody can be a comedian.
It's shortened our attention spans a lot, too. And
Yeah, you can't watch long stuff anymore.
No, and everything's spread thin.
So
Like, it's
true,
hard to
man.
get a viewership, for anything because, what am I supposed to watch?
Yeah,
There's so much.
What do I begin?
and I feel like I know some comedians there's some guys that only do shorter sets on the road just because they don't think that people want to hear them for the whole hour.
Well, have you ever
It's crazy.
catered like jokes for that reason, like shortened jokes for the?
No, usually I don't.
You just
Usually, I don't know who told me a long time ago. Someone was like, "Don't change your set."
to
don't change your
cater
set.
to the
Yeah, he's like, "Don't change your set just because you're in a different place."
Right.
You told me that.
Well, I told you because
told
someone
me
told
that.
me that. Someone said, "Don't change your set." Just because you're in a place where like the joke might not land that well, so what? It's your joke. It's who you are.
Right.
I'm not saying like you're a pussy if you don't. I'm just saying like you should. Just who cares? It's okay. because certain areas of the country, certain jokes aren't going to land as well.
Right.
And you might be surprised.
Yeah, and you might be surprised. But it's also, that's who you are. You wrote that joke. You believed in that joke in another place. Why don't you believe in that joke here? Well, because these people don't have the exact same mindset as me. Okay, well then tell them your mindset and see what they think. They might change their mind.
That's
Yeah.
interesting because you could end up just changing it everywhere you go and never really figuring out the best way to that joke.
Yeah.
It could just be like you're always pulling your hair out trying to find
The appropriate way to
Right.
do the
And it's
most
never-
PC way to do it. Or yeah, and some guys make a living on the road manipulating their sets to the areas that they live, or I mean that they're the areas they're performing in, and that's totally okay too if that's your formula and that's what works. I would just say, because I give him that advice, that I think his material is solid enough that you should be able to do it anywhere, and it's okay if it doesn't land as much in one city or another place. You know, if you're in a more liberal place or a more, you know, a little bit more of a red state, you know, it depends on where you are, but you should just be able to do it and not care. You're going to do better in certain places if
Obviously,
your material
yeah,
is
yeah.
more liberal or more conservative.
Catered to,
yeah,
yeah.
but I figure I just dance the line and see what happens.
See what- yeah.
And I have been surprised, super surprised. Like, you know, I'm not a filthy comic, but I'm not a clean comic. I think I'm just somewhere in the middle. I tell dirty jokes, but I also tell just, you know, just normal kind of down the road, not so filthy stuff. And I find that when I ever do tell a filthy joke, the older generation loves it the most. Like, I have like grandparents that would come up and like, that was so funny, and they love it. And you think like, oh God, it's so and so's granddad's here, or his, you know, his dad is gonna hate. Your parents are gonna hate this. They're not. They're probably gonna like it way more than you think. You think they're not gonna like it, but you forget. It's like, yeah, dude, they've done drugs, they fucked, they did what I did. They're me. They're just an older version of you.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I try not to change it. It's hard. Sometimes you have to shift a little bit. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're like, ooh, they're not gonna like this. Like,
You do
just
some
know.
topical stuff at the top, which not topical, regional stuff at the top, which is always good. Just to,
I try to
talk
connect
about
with them a
Well,
little.
yeah, you
But
gotta draw them in.
Then you do.
Yeah, because you want to let them know that you're one of the, you know,
Yeah.
that you have something to connect with them about.
Yeah,
You know.
but that's different. You're not changing your bits.
No.
Bits.
How's since you've been gone? I mean, what's your opinion on Arizona's comedy scene?
Oh my God, it's a complete 180. This
Yeah.
is insane. This is so different from what. And now there's like how many? 5 clubs? Is there 5 clubs?
gonna be 5.
5 now.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, there's 4 now.
The
There's
Laugh
gonna be-
Factory.
yeah,
They're gonna open up the Laugh
That was-
Factory.
Right.
That's gonna
Oh,
be the
wow.
newest one.
Yeah, I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like the improv was the thing, and then now I've seen it grow to those, you know, the stand up to Scottsdale and the stand up live or whatever, and I've seen it start to slowly get bigger and bigger, and it's incredible. The scene is incredible. People obviously want it. The shows are doing well. The clubs are doing well. People want to go and they want access to it. So it's good that it's not just the Tempe Improv for people to go see a show at. Because forever, I think that probably was the only one. I mean, I might be wrong, but I don't remember any other comedy clubs at the time. At all.
Yeah.
And Scottsdale kind of has become such a popular place now. I mean, Scottsdale at the time was popular, but it has become now like a really big city. Like it's just there's a lot of people,
This
man.
place is huge.
Yeah, it's massive. So I think the scene out here is fantastic. It's incredible. We had a great time out here.
We had a good time.
And when I first heard about it, I was like, well, "Where's the club?" And my agent was like, "Oh, it's up in
north.
Desert Ridge." And I was like, "Nothing's up
Where?
there.
Yeah.
Nothing." Because you know when I was here,
You
the
knew
mall
it.
was there,
Right.
and that was it. That, I mean, literally, this was land, golf course land. There was nothing. It was like, you know, it's like what it is when you get to the end of the road. I mean, it was nothing.
Right.
And he was like, "No, apparently, dude, there's like a whole new thing up there, and all this stuff is massive.
Yeah,
There's
you know
so many
what?
complexes."
Most of the people that come in here apparently are from north of the 101.
Yeah.
So we all thought they would be from south.
Yeah.
We'd be competing with maybe Stand Up Live, but
No.
apparently that's not the case. That's how large this place or how expansive it is now. It's everyone from
grown.
the north of the 101 is coming down to go to this club.
It's
which is
crazy.
weird, yeah.
Well, and Phoenix Metro is so big, keeps spreading. You get more and more places, and these will all keep building up and up and up and up. I mean, they'll just keep going until it's, you know, until we're dead. Until we
Well, that's
all die.
promising for you guys, right? It's like,
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
yeah.
Well, I'm always happy to come back to a club that I enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, like this club is fairly new, and it's getting its footing, and we did well this weekend numbers wise. I was happy the people that came out, and I'll always come back and support a place that I like with a club that I like and the owners that I enjoy that are good people. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Have you worked with Rick quite a bit?
No, not. I wouldn't say quite a bit. We had a few opportunities and it fell through actually, and they were bummed every time that I tried to go. And then when I did Edmonton, we linked up, and then I said I would do all of his clubs because I liked him. I liked the way he treated the comics. I liked the business. I just liked him. I just liked the idea. Everything clicked. So any club that I do that everything clicks like that, I'm like, I'll keep going as long as they keep asking me. Of course, why not? You know. And so he offered. I'm going to do the string outs of the rest of his clubs. At the end
Edmonton
of the year here.
And then
I'm going to do Minnesota. And
I think it's Edmonton, and they're talking about making one.
New Jersey's going to
Yeah, no, there's one more. Maybe not him. I'm doing one more other club, but yeah, and I'll go I'll go back to Edmonton.
You got to go to Jersey. It's my home state.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll have to bring someone else to that.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
No, I would. Yeah, I'll always. I've only had one opportunity that I took upon myself to alienate myself from a club, and I won't mention, but I had such a terrible time I would never go back. I actually told him I hope his club burned to the ground.
So was it just because of the owner?
Everything was shit.
Just everything?
Everything sucked.
Yeah.
Everything sucked. He was a dick.
Yeah.
You feel like maybe that wasn't the first time you'd heard that? Have you
That
spoken
from
to
this guy?
comics about this?
Oh, I've had other guys say they hated the club.
Yeah.
But he was such a dick to me about something, and I to this day, fuck him, and I'll never go back to that club. And like, he was such a dick.
Why don't you just go on and say what it was? You know?
Nah, I don't want to. I don't need to kick dirt on some guy's name. That's stupid. I'll just say, the way that everything was handled, it was just dumb. There was a bunch of people that were just causing a crazy disturbance. They lit up my feature, talked the whole time, yelling, screaming. You know, like it's just awful. And I wanted them removed, and they couldn't remove them because they were they were a huge table. They were with a humongous group, and I was so frustrated that they wouldn't shut up that I was like 10 minutes in, and I sat on the stool, and I was like, just go ahead and talk. I'm just going to do my allotted minutes up here, and then I'm going to get off. And by that I meant I didn't do any jokes. I just sat.
Sat there?
So I sat for another 25 minutes or something like that, just drinking my rum and Coke. And
Was it very hostile like the whole time?
No, man. Everyone started talking, and then people started to get up to leave. You know, people were like pissed. Other
just
customers were pissed, but like I was mad that they let those guys ruin the show for those other customers.
They didn't take him out.
No. So I said to the guy, you know, him and I got into it afterwards, and he's like, "That's so unprofessional." And I was like, "I could say the same for you." Right. And then I said, "You know what? Take out of my measly check, whatever I was getting paid at the time." I said, "Just go ahead and refund for those tickets. I'll pay for those people because they didn't get a show." Yeah. That's how little I care about what just happened and ever seeing this shit fart you call a comedy club. I was like, fuck this guy. So it bummed me out so much. But I was like, I think he said something to the effect of like, "You won't come back." And I was like, you think I would want to come?
Yeah.
Are you nuts, dude?
Yeah.
And in this place that I don't even want to be at, it was like in a place I was like, hey man, I came here. I don't want to come here.
Doing you a favor.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. That was
How long ago was
that?
that?
4 or 5 years ago, maybe.
Oh, that guy's fucked up, man. Because we've talked a few times about the comedy boom that seems to have started maybe around that time.
Oh, yeah.
And if that guy couldn't see the writing on the wall, you can't start shitting on comedy.
No, I just think he'd handled it incorrectly. And maybe it was because he has an issue with me or whatever it was, but man, I was not happy. I was very not happy about it.
Well, yeah, that's just
but I'll never go back there.
Yeah.
But I'll go to all the clubs that I enjoy, that I love. I'll go. The ones that I'm in love with, I'll keep going until they stop until they kick me out of comedy. And they're like, "You're just not funny anymore."
Yeah. Go back to your sitcom.
Yeah, get out of here. TV boy.
Well, where are we at on time, man?
Who knows?
Yeah, 43. I did want to talk to you guys about writing process.
Yeah,
I'm always interested.
Let's set up some writing.
If you guys start, like, you get up in the morning, fucking write, or a lot some time during the day, or no, like, who do we talk to?
Was it Dan?
Steve White. No, he just said,
Steve.
I just go through life and I kind of jot things down.
Oh, yeah.
And that was really interesting, like, to hear the dichotomy between
Do you,
someone that really puts the time
Do you
in.
block out time? Do you do that? Are you that disciplined?
No, I never block out time. I feel like that's not how. It's not how I write when we write TV stuff. I don't write that way either. My writing partner and I, we meet up in the morning almost every day. Pretty much every day that I'm in town, we have breakfast together and we just chat for like 2 hours. And that usually gets us into gear to start writing whatever we're writing. And then we'll write till we don't want to anymore. Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 4 hours. Sometimes we drag into the night. or I'll go over late night. He's like, come over after your show. I want to talk. We'll sit and we'll talk and we'll joke around, and then we'll write till 3, 4 in the morning. It has to be for me whenever it happens. I'm disciplined enough to know that we need to write the next day. Like if we had notes calls on this thing, and I was like, we have to turn something in, so we have to get together. But we just spend a lot of our days together, and that kind of works itself out. When it comes to stand-up writing, I'm a similar way. I won't just sit down and stare at a book, but I'll make a point to always have, like I write down on my phone is how I do it during the day. So wherever I am or wherever I'm going, during the schedule of my day, that's kind of it. And then at night, when I get home, I'll try to formulate stuff, and then I'll go try it on stage, or I'll go work it. And then when I get home from that, after I'm at home from the club, then I'll really pull it out, put it all on the book, and then I get into it like that. But yeah, I can't just sit and go, what is funny?
Yeah.
Because just for me that doesn't work.
Yeah.
What about you, John?
Yeah, John.
Me?
Come on, John.
I don't have very good discipline when it comes to writing, sitting down, just in general. Especially with stand-up, it's like, I find it very difficult to just sit down and go, okay, now I'm going to come up with ideas. That just never really works. It usually happens from just living and experiencing things.
Yeah.
But I tend to think that nothing is going to be funny. I'm too critical about jokes in general.
Well, most of your shit isn't funny.
That's
and
right.
Probably
It's
why
really
you
bad.
Feel that
That's
way.
probably why. Yes, that makes sense.
You definitely
and then,
do seem a little critical, man. Like
I am
It's
critical.
always in your head. It seems like that's
Yeah,
not it.
yeah.
That's not a bad thing, though.
He needs to get out of it.
Yeah.
I got to get out of it. I mean,
Just gotta
that's
get out of
stage.
it. There's a lot of people
It's a
care
normal
about
stage.
being a comics comic,
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah.
and I never give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need all the comics to be like, he's
I
the
love
best.
that.
We
He's the guy.
love
I
him.
love this, though. I love that confidence. I need that confidence.
Why would you care? I think I have friends that are very, very, very good comics, and there's a guy in particular, I won't mention his name, but he very much cares about being a comics comic, and he is. He's the ultimate comics comic. Everybody in LA knows him, loves him. I mean, in other places too, but New York. I mean, he's got a good foot in the stand-up scene, and he's in his head. I feel like he would be a little bit more successful than he is if he wasn't in his head so much, but caring about what other comics think.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he is doing very well. He will do very well. I'm saying, I think he's a little bit of a self-anchor. He would get a little bit faster to where he's going.
Not so self-destructive.
Yeah, like, who gives a fuck? And not everyone's going to like your shit. Not everyone's going to think everything you say is funny. And I don't care that every snarky comedian is like, I don't really like his material. Like, good. I don't give a shit that you don't like it. I like it, and the people that I'm trying to make laugh are liking it. So fuck you. I don't have to make you like it. If you like me, let's be friends and let's get along. But if you're one of those people that just sits around and stews and talks shit about whose material you don't like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Who are you? Like, your shit is that great and supreme? I don't think I've ever met a very good, famous comedian who's ever felt that way about other comics. I've never met a really great comedian that I respect that would talk shit about another guy's material. I guarantee you Bill Burr doesn't sit around ever going, you know
No
what
way.
guys I don't like? I don't like this guy. This other guy, I don't think he's funny. I guarantee he never says that. There's no way. Why would he? Unless it's in the privacy of him and a buddy's conversation when they're just talking and jetting around. But
Shooting shit,
those guys
yeah.
don't have the time to like run around giving a shit about other people's, whether or not they really like other comedians. You see who you like and you go, oh, I think that guy's funny. And then if there's someone you don't think is funny, it's just like, well, that's the end of that.
Yeah.
I just don't watch them again. But I don't hate on them.
Right.
They're doing a different thing that just doesn't appeal to me, and that's okay. There's a place for it, Like, I think John's material's awful. I hate his shit, but I would never say it.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's terrible.
Thank you for not saying it.
And I wouldn't say it. I
Especially
wouldn't
on
say that I think
camera.
you're
in front
awful.
of me.
I would never say in front of your face I think you're a shit comedian and your stuff is bad and I don't like
Thank
watching you.
you.
I wouldn't
Good.
tell you that.
And
But it's
that means
true.
A lot to me, right?
No,
I'm
I don't
happy.
think.
I love the straight face.
I don't
man.
think you can care. I don't think you can care what other people. And I think you care. I think you care too much. You want to care. You want the community to like you.
I
But
think, like you said
can't too
earlier,
much.
he's
But
in
I'm also critical of myself too, on top of worrying about
just-
what everybody else is thinking. So yeah, it's not a great.
at that level,
Doubly critical.
everyone's worried about
Well,
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
everyone
in the fighting. He's in
the fighting
stage.
stage. Yeah,
range.
you
so-
at an open
Also,
mic.
I'm developing. It's like you were confident even when you were developing, but
So are you. So are you. You're just self-sabotaging right now is all you're doing. Because everyone that
Valid.
goes to like an open mic show or a small show all those asshole comics in the room, all they're thinking is, I'm funnier than that. That joke's not funny. I don't like that. That joke's not funny.
Oh
I'm not
my
gonna laugh.
God, they hang.
They don't
want to
support each other.
It's a terrible world.
Because they're pieces of
Pursuit.
shit. They're terrible people. That's a terrible attitude. You should be the guy that goes there
That's great.
to work on your own stuff. And if you do want to support and watch other comedians,
Then support 'em.
then get in there for them. And
Yeah.
like, enjoy.
man.
Try to enjoy the material, and do your best. And don't be a dick about it. But no one says you have to. You don't have to sit and watch and stew over who you think you're funnier than, because you're then that guy that always goes like, "Oh, you think I'm funnier than
It's
that
just
guy?"
wasted energy, right? It seems
Yeah.
like you've got a very positive outlook on your own material, other people's work, and that I think that's a great thing to have for someone like you to be around.
Yeah.
Like a really positive opinion about comedy, even though you're fighting it.
And you get the real opinion, because I see him going through,
Well, you have something to look
Stuff
forward towards.
Yeah,
You see somebody
exactly.
that's done it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is doing it, so, yeah.
every once in a while you get upset about something, and I put in perspective what it looks like for me, looking at you, where you're at.
Yeah.
You get upset about a job or something like that.
It's usually about my stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
get
It's
upset
never
about
about
anybody
other
else.
comedians.
No,
It's always
correct.
like
Correct.
I get angry about a job that didn't go right for me or something that got screwed up, and that gets frustrating. But yes, it's hard to complain to him
And then
about.
I'm like, then I'm like, hey, you're doing what I want to be doing.
Right.
And
At any level, everyone's going to say that. You know what I mean? Like at every level, everyone is at. It's like, oh, they're only giving me this to do this, and you're like, oh, I wish they would give me anything to do anything.
right.
At some level, at whatever
It's
level
a
it is.
TV show.
One
Right,
of my
seriously.
favorite drummers, great teacher, Mike Johnston. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I don't know.
He really puts things into perspective that I think is really interesting. Basically, looking at things as a timeline. Like instead of comparing yourself to people, like other drummer or other musicians, whatever. Because musicians are the same way. It's just like, fuck that guy. Why did he get the gig? Why is he getting it? I'm not. He just says you're either earlier or you're later in the timeline. That's it. I mean, and I
Right.
think that's really like the healthiest thing I think you can do with any type of competitive art form. It's
Yeah.
just okay. I didn't put as much time in it as that guy did. That's why this guy's fucking doing this.
True.
And there is the thing where obviously some people are born into something too. You know what I mean? Like a kid's
Talent.
been playing since he was 3 years old. So I would hope he's badass by now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when you put it in that perspective, I think it just takes that anxiety off of
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean?
It gives
Does
you
that make
rest. You can
sense?
rest easier about it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's easier for me. I don't rest easy about anything else, but that I'm good with.
Yeah.
I watched this interview from Dan Harmon, and I've told him this story. I tell it to a lot of people because it means a lot to me. But Dan Harmon did this thing. The guy who created Community, who's an amazing writer. But Dan Harmon did this thing in San Francisco, and he was doing this talk. It was like a TED Talk type thing, and he told this great story. He said, when I was a child, my mother used to say to me, when we go to the grocery store and you get lost, don't come looking for mommy, just sit still, because I'll be looking for you. And hypothetically, we could just keep missing each other. If you're looking for me and I'm looking for you, it's like we're circling around each other. And he said, I kind of use that advice and tell that to people in the business that are young, that are trying to come up and do their thing in entertainment. He says, don't go looking for them, because you'll always miss them. You'll never find them. Just sit still, do what you do. Be good, work hard at it, and they'll find you. And I just find that to be true. I don't know if it's an ultimate truth, but I've got to tell you, I've been preaching that since I watched that. It meant so much to me. And there's something about it that just rang true. It was like, yeah, dude, don't go looking for what you think they want you to be or do. Just do it and work hard at it and be good at it. And they will find you.
Right.
It's not going to happen on the day you think it. It's like, in a year, I should be crushing on Comedy Central. It's like, how do you know? You don't know. You hope. You just keep working hard until they... the selfish point of view would say, until they catch up. I'm doing my own thing until they catch up and get to me.
absolutely.
And it's okay if they've passed me. And it's like, what? I thought I was going to get the thing this time.
Right.
It's all good. It's all good, because eventually you will get it if you keep really going for it.
Yeah. Well,
But
I think
it's hard.
Mark Maron was he's a big influence for me for that reason. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy's in his 50s now, and it seems like
He's just coming
getting
too.
it. Yeah, He's finally hitting. He's getting the show. He's getting, what I mean? All these things are finally
it's a
escalating.
long struggle.
There's a few of those guys, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would even argue
bunch.
Louis is a great example. Louis is.
Yeah.
People think, Louis isn't out of the blue.
Right,
Louis has
he's
been around for a long
right,
time in
exactly.
a good way, and now he's only mega famous and his recognition because of how great of a show he created, and his stand-up has kind of come to its blossoming point where it's the best he's ever done. But for years, dude, I mean, he's done Letterman, and he was on that show so many times, and he's been a stand-up for a long time. Like, I watch old videos. It's like, oh my God, yeah. But he's had a long time coming, and he deserved it. So I think he just waited and was good. And he had a few swings at the bat that didn't really work, and that's what you're going to do. Where all of us are going to have shit that's like, fuck, I hated that I did that. You're going to do it.
Yeah.
No one has a career where it's like, perfect, I never fucked up. Right. I never did a job that I didn't like. I never did a TV show I didn't like. I never did a movie I didn't like. So many people do. I mean, it's like you can name any great comedic actor or just a stand-up. They all have some regrets of something that they've done. I think it'd be impossible to do all the shit that you love.
Life gets messy, man.
Yeah, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
So that's the secret then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when anyone ever asks, what's the secret, or they're implying that question, it's just keep your head down and work.
Just keep working. Just keep working.
Head down and work.
Enjoy it. Keep doing comedy if you love it, and work hard at it. And listen, is it a sure thing that you're going to get the things you want? No, it's not at all. It's not for sure. It's just you got a better likelihood of success in anything that you do. And our job just happens to put that at the forefront of like, look, if you just are really hardworking and you've got some good talent there and you commit, chances are you're going to get something. You're going to get what you deserve in one way or another. I don't know what it's going to be. It's not always going to manifest how you like want it to manifest, but you're going to get what you deserve if you put the work in for that thing that you're going for.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, that's like the thing that keeps me moving. Because it gets tough. There's times you're like, I could quit this tomorrow. Right. This shit is awful. Sometimes it's awful.
I'm going to be a Chipotle manager now.
Shit, whatever. Hey, and that Chipotle manager, it's not a bad gig.
Hey,
that's what I always said. When they kick me out of comedy, I've always said this. I'm comfortable with the notion that if I did have to bow out and be like, I'm not in love with it. I don't feel I'm as funny as I was. I don't really create as much as I used. If I start to fall out, I will bow out gracefully and go do something else. Yeah. I just would go do something else. I'd find it, whatever it is. I hope it doesn't happen. I think it's never going to happen. But I have a comfort somewhere that's like, what are you going to do, man? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You got to try something else and be great at something else then.
Yeah, that's weird, man. I raced motorcycles for like 6 years, and all I wanted to do was turn pro. I wanted to race superbike, and I did. I raced my superbike. And that year that I made it in, that I turned pro, I was like, I don't want to do this shit.
Yeah.
This is crazy, man. This is like, I extrapolated all the work I put into like the next 10 years. And I'm like, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
And so, but I had the peace of mind that I got to that point, that I did all the hard work, burned all the bridges, the relationships, everything to get to that point. I'm like, fuck, that's all I needed out of this. I needed that thing. I needed to get to the point.
Yeah.
And it's different in comedy, of course, for obvious reasons, but I think there's something to that. If you got to the point you're like, all right, this isn't going to work, or I can bow out gracefully. I could do it, and I'm happy with myself for doing it. And there's good reasons, and I can take that what I learned and move it, take it and use it elsewhere.
Absolutely. Hard workers can be good at anything. If you're a hard worker, you could be successful at anything because you're just dedicated to something. If you're driven enough, that's all. That's to me. That's all that means. Like, and you know, and it does get. It does get hard. It does get dark. Yeah. Look at what you said. There's stuff that I've gotten that it's so funny. It's like when you get it, you're almost like, who gives a shit? Yeah. And when he hears me say stuff like that, it's like, wow, dude, people would kill if. But you're like, yeah, dude. But there's a piece of you that you like. You lost. I know what you're like. I felt that. You're like, oh God, I worked so hard, and now I don't even think I fucking want it. Like, I don't even want it.
Yeah.
You're still like, I can't conceptualize this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That is always the craziest thing to me. But to hear you say that so confidently that like, oh, you know, if I decide that I don't want to do it anymore, then I won't do it. I admire that so much because I have, as much as I struggle with, you know, comedy and, you know, whatever my path is going to be, because it's early on and it's hard to tell what it's going to be, I still am very confident that I'd be incapable of doing any other job.
You just failed miserably.
I feel very.
You're the worst cook ever.
I mean, you say it about yourself, but you know me. Do you really think that I could do anything?
You could be a great manager of an Abercrombie.
Yeah.
You could.
I would be terrible at that too.
You would. I could see you being.
Be hitting on the
Yeah, you'd be
employees.
sleeping with all the employees.
Like,
If you could endure the smell,
Here, let's do
perpetual
this.
stench of an Abercrombie
yeah.
store.
You could be. I could top your list
Go
of what
ahead,
you
go
could
ahead,
do.
go ahead. Is that so? Abercrombie manager.
You could work on a boat. I could see you working on a boat.
What kind of boat? Like a cruise ship?
You could work on a cruise ship.
I would love to do that.
See, I told you. You could do that. You'd be great at that.
It'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd
make
have
with all
fun.
the old ladies.
I could see you.
A lot of Bahama
I
shirts.
could see you doing entertainment still, but you could do like.
This is
I could see you only doing bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. I could
Yeah,
see
that
you
could be me
entertaining.
too.
That's fun.
Sure. I mean, you're that guy.
So what? Who cares? What that guy?
Be the best at that.
That
Dude,
guy
being
might
that
be
guy.
so happy. That guy probably goes home like, dude,
Yep.
made more money
But
today
that's-
at a bar mitzvah, singing songs to kids, yucking around town. And when he's sick of that shit, then he's on to something else.
I mean, but that guy wanted to be the bar mitzvah guy, you know?
How do you know that? I don't. You don't know that. My
I don't know that.
no, that's not true. I know. My aunt did karaoke DJing. She didn't fucking ever like. She didn't have dreams in high school about being a karaoke DJ, but she likes it. It works. She makes a living out of it. Something fell into place.
I just don't, you know.
You think of that because of what you do, and that's exactly why you'll never not do comedy, because you don't think of yourself as anything else.
No.
Yeah, it does seem beneficial to think that.
You
Yeah,
gotta,
you
you
should.
gotta
It's an ongoing
believe in it,
struggle.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta believe
It's
in
a
it.
hate-love
Like, there's
thing,
no
man.
giving up. There's just
Yeah.
because
I'm ready to give up. I'm just ready to give me a construction job. I'm ready to get the fuck out of
Right
here.
You've already made
So
it.
jaded
Yeah.
already.
No.
Would you do the cruise ship with me?
I would never do a cruise ship. That is what a terrible idea. No, only because I don't like cruise ships. It has nothing to do with anything else. You're out on the water for how many
Locked
days?
in with those people.
I could be
Yeah.
like a bartender in the Caribbean, you know?
That's great. I would do that.
Yeah,
You could
like
be-
Tom Cruise in, what is it?
Oh, in Cocktail? Yeah.
Yeah, like that. I would totally do that.
You could do that.
That'd
Yeah.
be a great life.
After seeing
That
you
would.
dancing,
Find an Elizabeth shoe
I
out
think you could
there
be in a
and
boy
just-
band, man.
He can dance. We got our jig on last
Ooh,
night,
yeah,
bro.
man.
We
Oh,
broke
yeah?
it off at the sandbar. We
Oh,
lit it
yeah?
on fire. We
Oh, the
lit it on
sandbar.
fire. We literally lit it on fire. We
I
started.
forgot
a
to
It was
fire.
in the
Huh?
papers today.
Huh?
Yeah.
I forgot to text
The girl that you were dancing with. We'll text her as soon as this podcast is over.
Yeah. Tell her you just got off the
She's
podcast.
probably not wondering about me at all.
She's not wondering. She doesn't give a shit about you at all. But get her attention. Get her attention.
you know. All right, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, you're not here much longer,
The
man.
Tinder date, the Tinder girl that came last night was a mistake.
Oh, you did the
Yeah,
Tinder
it
thing?
didn't
It was a
work out.
mistake.
You saw her. You saw her.
I wasn't here for that
She was tough
I
to
saw
see.
her in the
Tough
dark,
to
though.
see, eh?
That was unfortunate.
What did I say today? What happened last night with that Tinder girl that you invited to the show is the quintessential
Backlash.
coming to life of Tinder. It is
Right,
exactly
right.
what should happen. It is like,
Four pictures
true.
of.
and they're all great. And of course she doesn't look like that. Of course she doesn't
No.
look like that.
Yeah.
She had a.
And she didn't
She had
look.
a fupa that
she-
doubled as a
that's
fanny
back.
pack.
Oh, that's it, guys. Yeah,
That's
he
a callback. Thanks.
lands on his last callback show. Yeah, that didn't work out for you very well.
That's all good.
Yeah, no one feels bad for you, man.
No, yeah, he's gonna be fine.
No one can
You
ever
did it
feel
to
bad that
yourself.
got burned
If you
by
were
Tinder.
ugly, then people would feel bad for you because they're like, this guy probably doesn't get girls ever, and bummer that he had a swing and didn't work out. But because you're a good-looking kid, nobody gives a shit about good-looking people not working out with stuff. Because they know that you have sex, and that you're gonna have more sex. You have so much more sex.
I'm your bottom, so
You're my bottom, and whenever I'm ready, you know you got to do it.
I got to do
Yeah,
it.
you have standards though too, man. I was surprised. Like I saw your body language with her. And I'm
Oh,
like,
he was so turned off;
What
it was
the fuck?
hilarious.
I thought. I told Nick, I'm like, I thought he was just gonna fuck her anyhow.
No,
The body
She also
language.
had like she was drinking something like a protein shake. She like brought a protein
What the
shake to the comedy club, and it kind of smelled. It had some. I don't know what it was.
say her name into the mic.
I really hope she doesn't watch you because she was very nice.
You got her picture still, right?
She was very sweet. She was just.
We can put it up on the board.
Oh my God, it'd be hilarious.
You want to do that
Oh
for
my
tonight?
God, that would be funny.
You want to do that
When
for
John
tonight?
gets on tonight, when he does his spot tonight, will you
We
put
just
up
have
the
the
Tinder
Tinder
photo of her?
girl?
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Oh God.
Do you know what's really? You know what the most fucked up thing about this is? Like we all laugh, but I could really get that done.
And that would be fucking.
Because as the headliner, if I said I really want him to have that photo behind him, you don't have shit to say.
I can't say anything.
It's
If
like
I'm
such a
if I'm
great
hey,
power.
hey, take it down. Take it down.
They would go, no. The headliner requested that it was up.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'd only put it on like 5 minutes into the set, so you'd think it wouldn't go up.
It would look like this, and then she would just pop up in the middle of one of his jokes.
Fuck, man.
Just in and out.
I would
just
never
flash.
do that to you.
Oh, that would be fucking great.
It'd be fun to play Tinder on the screen, though. Like,
Oh, that would be great. That's a perfect screen for Tinder.
Yeah, we could
It's
do
a huge.
Tinder
We could
dates
somehow
on there.
figure that out. We just can't get the sound. If you ever needed sound,
I don't think you need sound for Tinder. Do they have sound on there?
Is there videos?
No sound.
I don't use.
They
Tinder.
need sound. We
Sound
just
would be
invented
fun.
something.
Tinder
You should
doesn't.
have sound on Tinder.
What should the sounds be?
When you swipe no, it should be like, nah.
No fatty.
Yuck, gross, nah. Ew. Just like a bunch of different
No
sounds.
fat chicks.
Yeah, I would pay for that.
Yeah.
I don't even have it, but I would
about
do
when
that.
you-
And when you like it, it's like,
Yeah.
just like cheap dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When you go to the right. That'd be so funny to hear in public.
I think this is turning into a new bit
It's a
right
new
now.
bit. It's a new bit. John will be
love
doing
that.
it tonight.
I love that.
All right, guys. Well, thank
you
so
guys,
much.
man.
Seriously.
This is awesome.
Let's plugging anything you guys want to plug.
Just Cheeto Santino is my Instagram and my Twitter.
I think you've been in the way of his name up there.
Oh, that doesn't.
My
look at
big
that.
ass head. I'm sorry.
Rudnitsky.
Yeah.
I need to tweet more.
You do need to tweet more. You get your social media presence up.
I gotta get it up.
I went to your
Yeah, be-
Twitter
be
today and I saw
more
your
white noise.
ass.
Yeah.
You
saw
bent
my
over
butthole.
and it said Conan. The O on Conan
Was my
Oh,
butthole.
asshole.
Yeah.
I got kicked off Facebook for
Kicked
that.
off for that, yeah.
They kicked me off. I did Conan and I wanted to promote it and I just was bending over, spreading my butt cheeks and I said, I'm on Conan tonight. And the O was my butthole. And Facebook, Twitter and Instagram were fine with it. It was up on Twitter and Instagram. No one took
Yeah,
it
it's still
down.
there.
Facebook
And
is
Facebook
stuffier
kicked
these
me
days.
off. They fucked them. They kicked me
It's
off.
for adults now. It's not for the kids.
But you don't actually see the
You don't see my butthole.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's covered up. It's all good.
The O just covers up the butthole.
They
And
covered it
even
up.
if it did see your butthole.
It's
you
a
have you have
butthole.
Right. It's a butthole.
It's a butthole. Why is it that big of a deal?
Everybody should have
I
the
should
right
be able to
show
show my butthole whenever I want.
wherever. That's in the
We
Constitution.
can put button.
You can put a big butthole up there when I go up.
If you were shitting and like the poo, someone photoshopped it coming out of the O.
Yeah.
That would be a bit rude.
But see, well, I
can
wouldn't.
understand.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that because I wouldn't do any kind of photoshopping. I would have to really shit. For me, I go authentic, and I'd want to
Right.
really shit on camera if I'm gonna
You
do
don't
it.
have to be a solid shit.
If I'm gonna go full steam
Right,
ahead.
right.
But no, yeah, they kicked me off Facebook, and I had to contact the Facebook guys.
Mark.
Zuck. Yeah,
You call him
Zuck.
Zuck.
Oh, Zucky.
Yeah, you know him as Mark.
Yeah.
I call him Zuck. But I had to contact these guys and be like, you guys, they kicked me off. And we had to go through this big process of like how to get it back up because I have a fan page. I don't have like the page, but they had to go through huge hoops. It was like a big deal. They were like, he violated our nudity policy. It's like, what? It wasn't like licking a kid's penis on. Like it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't doing something really fucked up. It was my butthole covered up.
Right.
I would understand if it was something, I don't know. It didn't make sense. Like Eric Andre, when his show came out, his Eric Andre show, did you see he put his dick on Instagram?
No.
And they got around for a long time, and then they finally pulled it down. But it took them forever to pull him down. Like Instagram was like sleeping on it.
Really?
It was just him in front of the mirror as he got out of the shower, and and he did that because he's got a huge dick.
Does he have a huge dick?
Yeah, he's got
I
a
bet he
huge
does.
dick. Of
Big
course he
dick.
does it. He's touching his knee. I mean,
Ugh, that's crazy. Man.
he's got a big gonker. He was just put it out there, but it was great. It was up on Instagram all day, and they finally
Very
took
impressive.
it down. Yeah,
He could show his dick. You should be able to show your butthole or your dick.
exactly, John. Exactly. I'm gonna
You've
actually.
got a sizable penis.
I got a nice penis.
He's well walking around in his underwear. He's got quite the bulge. I haven't seen it in the bear, like in its.
Yeah,
in
and
its
flop it
In all
Yeah.
its
Yeah.
glory.
I'll put it on your head.
I mean, I've felt
Tonight's
it,
the night.
inside of me, but that's a whole
Yeah,
other thing.
that's how you know. I'll let you do this. The weight.
Just kinda weigh it?
Yeah, weigh it a little bit.
Get
A couple
a
of
little
grams. Yeah, get a little. Test it. Blow on it. Yeah. It's a Nintendo cartridge. You hit it a few times.
Works.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
All
Thank
right,
you guys.
Seriously.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That was funny.
Thank
We're
you,
in
brother.
San Diego in 2 weeks too.
Oh yeah. We're doing San Diego, the
Diego.
21st and the
La
22nd.
Jolla Comedy Store.
We'll do that.
Beautiful.
Doing it. It'll be fun.
All right. Thanks,
Later,
guys.
guys. Thank you.
We done.